We're smooth 98.1 FM. It's gone 16 minutes past the hour of 8 o'clock already. Welcome inside the locker room as I've been joined this morning by Princess Tega Onojiafe. Good morning, Tega.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. Okay, there's no Taco Wednesday, but it's Wednesday. And a lot has happened over the week. Okay, so last night was the Champions League. We'll be touching on that. Some shocking results. Or well, let's just say some interesting results, because if you've been following the form of those teams, it's not necessarily shocking. We'll also touch on the debacle that happened on Monday night in the London Derby. And also we'll talk about how Cancun finally ended with the WTA finals. We'll be talking about all that and more in the locker room today. But before we do that, Omar, tell us, how can we be a part of the locker room?
To be part of the locker room this morning, be sure to send WhatsApp messages to 0809-444-0981 reacting to any of the sporting headlines that Tega would be breaking down for us inside the locker room. Then you can also go over to youtube.com/smooth981FM Lagos. That's how you can be part of the conversation this morning. But you can also throw in your bands after last night's performance. And there would also be games today also. Those who don't play Wednesday and Tuesday football. Well, God help you. Let's move on.
I don't even know what they are playing. Say, all those people that play on Thursday. Why can you play on Thursday? Just if you're playing, just give up on football. Just close your football team, pack it up, and go somewhere.
If you're not playing Tuesday and Wednesday, you're not playing football.
Yes, if you're not playing football Tuesday and Wednesday, you're a poor man. Poor people football is what they play on Thursday. All right. So on that note, we'll go through the headlines, and then when we come back, we'll talk about the rich people football. Let the rich breathe.
Breathe. All right. On the bill this morning, we've got Swiatek Thrashes Pegula to win WTA finals, reclaim #1 ranking. Then there is a 9-man Spurs miss out on top sport and chaotic loss to Chelsea. As there is a Giroud sinks PSG to reignite Milan's Champions League bid. Then you would find Sevilla boss Alonso wants to avenge unfair Arsenal loss. Then we'll serve you with failed, says Xavi as Barcelona fall to Shakhtar defeat. Then Copenhagen confident of Man United upset in Champions League, as well as Man City RB Leipzig reach Champions League last 16. Then Maradona's heads will win EU trademark fight against soccer players' ex-lawyer. These and more you would find inside the locker room. Tega.
Can you imagine these lawyers? And don't get me wrong, business is business. But this man has children, and they were going to own his rights. A whole Maradona, and his children are answering Maradona. But that law firm was going to own the rights if they had won. In fact, we're going to delve into that story of why they even had the authority in the first place to say that they owned his logo rights and his name rights. We'll be talking about that. So next time when you want to sign any business deal, just remember, it's like what happened to Roger Federer, that he couldn't get his initial rights after leaving Nike. I think for a couple of years before he was eventually able to get it. I was like, but RF is just simply Roger Federer. Why are you holding this man's name? But when you sign all those contracts, it's important to read all those tiny details. So we'll talk about that eventually. But first, let's start from what happened in Cancun. Yes, the great Cancun at the WTA final.
So to Cancun, Mexico, second seed Swiatek dominated Pegula from start to finish to clinch a 6-1, 6-love victory in 59 minutes masterclass.
She had somewhere to go. There's nothing else you can tell me. It was no. It was brutal, it was fierce, and it was absolute domination. And that's how you should have your revenge. When you want to make a statement, though, if somebody shoves you small, you escalate it to 100. What are you saying? You know who I am, world #1. And that was what she was fighting for. So Iga Swiatek, by her standards, did not have a great Wimbledon. especially with what she had done the previous year. She didn't have a great Wimbledon, she didn't have a great US Open, and all those tournaments in between, and which is why she lost the #1 ranking eventually to Arena Sabalenka. But the WTA finals gave her an opportunity to get back her #1 ranking. And boy, did she do it in dominant fashion. She went about her game very businesslike. And I think the one thing that improved um, at the WTA finals that I noticed, which was different from the earlier swing in the second half of the season, was her serves. Because I used to say, this girl has the worst service motion. There's just too many moving parts when she's about to serve. And I kept asking myself, what are the coaches looking at? I mean, if this girl wants to serve and she has to make like 4 different service motions before she serves, and it's not smooth, like I can see each motion as it's happening, then there's a problem. But during the Cancun, it made sense with the way everything flowed. It was fluid, it was fluid, it was effective. It was the same 4 motions, the way she tosses up the ball, the way she moves her hand, and then she angles her hand just to give the ball a good spin. But it was more fluid than before. And so that's one thing that improved her serves. It's not the biggest serves, it's just very well placed. And then her movement on the court, you cannot argue about that. So it was a fantastic way to come back. And then she gets to the finals against the Jessica Pegula, and she absolutely destroyed Jessica Pegula. It's not like Jessica Pegula was having a bad day. It's just that Jessica couldn't have a good day because Iga Swiatek did not let her have a good day.
Okay.
Even when she hit her big serves or her big forehand, Iga Swiatek was like, let me top that with this return. So it was completely dominant. And then she eventually won in less than an hour. She beagled Pegula in a WTA finals. Without dropping a set all through the tournament.
So Tega, let's assume Swiatek could have accepted a date, and say, I'll be there. Just wait for me. I'll meet you up at the venue and finish that game and go for a date.
Unfortunately, Swiatek is not that kind of date person. Let's just say she would have accepted a book reading class.
Oh,
she's a geek like that. She'd rather read a book. Yeah. When people are having downtime, people are watching things on their phone. Swiatek is reading a book. Like hardcover book, not reading a book on her tab or reading a book on her phone, reading a book. So yeah, she would have accepted a book reading and said, you know what, I'll be back in a jiffy. Because literally less than an hour. So
what happens to Sabalenka? Where is she now?
She will stay in old #2. She's not going anywhere now. She's #2, not a good. It's not #2 is where she has been staying before. Now she managed it again. But congratulations to Swiatek. And here's what is interesting. So many of the women or so many of the girls on the tour are just like, that's our #1 for very many reasons. But it's acceptable to them. I just think that next season though is going to be tougher because Naomi Osaka has been sitting in the corner watching them, and she's been practicing recently. So when she comes back, she'll be like, Iga Swiatek, you think you're good? I'm coming for your scalp. And that's how Naomi is. Naomi likes to beat the biggest person so that everybody else will now be afraid. And I think Naomi Osaka is coming for her.
For good measure, at least for balance of gender, any news from DJ, from what we call Djokovic? Any news about him? Just throw it.
No, their tournament is over. Good night and God bless. Women's time.
Come on, guys.
You must put balance of gender. What balance of gender? My friend, will you move to one corner?
Next story now. Let's go to the next story now, Tega. So this next one is football. So 9-man Spurs miss out on top sport in chaotic loss to Chelsea as the Premier League was dashed in extraordinary fashion. They lost 4-1 at home to Chelsea after Nicholas Jackson hat-trick in a chaotic London derby that they finished with 9 men on Monday.
Yeah, so a tricky one. The match started how I thought it was going to start, with Tottenham being dominant, in fact, getting the early goal. And I said, this is going to be a beatdown. But Chelsea came back into the game and just put Tottenham under pressure. And the thing about Tottenham is that they got carried away. I will say this. They got carried away, especially with their tackles. because they are confident, they are excited, they are flying into tackles recklessly. And I said it, Udogi earlier had made this tackle. I just thought that card is orange. Maybe it's not red, but it's orange card. Even VAR thought about it too. They took a look at it. They said, okay, let's leave it at yellow. And then eventually he was sent off in the second half in the 55th minute. But Romero's tackle, Romero is the one that I know gets away with some horrendous tackles. Like this guy can play some Shaolin defending, and referees will just unlook it. And I'm like, what are you giving these referees to eat that they can't see these tackles? But he was punished very swiftly on Monday against Chelsea. And so that was the first red card that happened. And Chelsea got the penalty, Cole Palmer stepped up to the plate. Goalkeeper almost saved it, but it still hit the back of the net. But Chelsea weren't good. And you could tell that Chelsea was struggling when they're playing with a man up and they were not even breaking Tottenham. And then it became worse for Tottenham in the second half when Udogie was sent off. Chelsea scored their second goal, but still, with 9 men, Tottenham was still holding Chelsea, and that's because Chelsea wasn't making the runs. It's not like Tottenham were doing a brilliant defensive job. It's just that Chelsea players weren't making the runs. And Tottenham almost got away with it because they scored another goal that, was ruled as offside in the 80-something minute, that their goal. And then they had another chance with Betancourt that, could have sealed the deal for them. And eventually Chelsea was able to wrap it up with 2 late goals in the 94th and the 97th minute. And yes, a lot of people have come out to, to pick on or to condemn Postecoglou's 9-man high-line defending. I will say this. When you are with 9 man, you pick a gamble. It's a gamble, it's a risk you take. You pick a struggle. He couldn't sit back and hope that on the counter, he was going to be able to find the man that will run 30, 40 yards to put the ball in the back of the net. Yeah. He decided to play a high line. And it could have worked. Everybody forget that Chelsea wrapped up that game in injury time. I said their third goal came in the 94th minute. So it could have worked. But it didn't on the day. And Tottenham ended up getting beaten by 4-1. So stop telling me, oh, it's ridiculous that he was playing a high line with 9 men. You can play whatever you want. There is no reality in which they will line most of you up and put Ange Postecoglou on the line, and anybody will pick you as manager over Postecoglou. So calm down. He took a risk. He made a gamble. It didn't work. Sometimes it works, but this time it didn't work. So stop saying it's ridiculous. There's no one way to play football. There are many ways to win a match. Okay, let me not say there's no one way to play football, but there's no one way to win a match, or there's no one way to defend. He just took a risk and it didn't work out this time. With another team, it may have worked out.
Word of the morning. Life is a risk in itself, so you have to choose a struggle. Okay.
Yes, choose a struggle. You live by your choice, you die by your choice. Don't tell me
awesome.
to defend the high line with man. What do you know?
You see why, that's why I always tell them to come into the locker room to get all of this dressed down so that when they get out there on the beach, they'll be just all out to get the results out there. But it looks like we should get in a few messages in, and then we'll come back to get all of the rest stories, Tega.
All right.
So I see Shegun from Ikorodu sent in a message here already, and is reacting to this jibe we threw out there a while ago. If you're not playing Thursday and Wednesday, and you are not you are playing soccer, not football. That's his own coinage of it. So he has a team probably playing on Thursday, so he's supporting that one.
I'm with you. You're not playing. If you're playing on Thursday, you're not playing football.
Okay, so maybe flag football then. So I've got Tayo in here. Tayo says, imagine giving, so Tayo says, Newcastle that are played Tuesday and Wednesday football. What kind of football did they play against Dortmund after dominating PSG? Conversing's prediction of Chelsea has been thinking.
They are still playing football. They just lost at a football match. The people that are playing on Thursday, they won at something else match.
Okay. Because Conversing's prediction on Chelsea has been thinking he must have a crystal ball, unlike one pastor doing the same last week. That match was looking like WWE, but VAR was in control eventually. Oh, that's all the message we can get right now. So be sure to get your messages among all this one we shall be reading after this time on 0809 444 0981.
What does future forward banking mean to you? Speed, innovation, convenience, lifestyle goals, or just simply getting service that is designed just for you? Yeah, we thought you might like all of that. That is why we specially created Providence Bank for you to take care of your daily experiences. At Providence Bank, we believe that banking should be all about you and your business and how to get you to the next level. If you do not already have a Providence Bank account, please speak with our business concierge on 0700 77684 387 or email businessconcierge@providencebank.com to switch to a future forward banking experience. Providence Bank. Future forward banking.
You will explain, Taya. Feel the pressure now when you come to my face.
Francesca, it goes down when my disconnect.
Better rest, better rest. You not try, you not do, better rest.
Oh, baby, I don't know that number.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, now, say it with your favorite lyrics on Spotify.
What takes a plate of jollof rice to the next level of goodness? Is it when it is cooked with no seasoning cubes for that sumptuous taste? Or when you serve it with correct Nigerian salad, cabbage, carrots, lettuce, and a bit of kidney beans? It's both. Season your jollof with the rich taste of no cubes and serve with plenty of vegetables. So go ahead and elevate your meals. Today, eat for good.
Connection is very important. Keep it strong at home or on the go. With Airtel Home Broadband Internet devices, get the 10,000 Naira or the 20,000 Naira router that gives you 30 gigabytes and 100 gigabyte data instantly, or the 5,000 Naira MiFi and the 7,500 Naira MiFi that gives you 5 gigabytes and 30 gigabytes instantly. Hurry to the nearest Airtel shop or visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started. Airtel, a reason to imagine. This is Johnny Drill, and you're listening to the Smooth Breakfast Show.
We're Smooth 98.1 FM. It's still time to get into the locker room, and Tega is still with us here breaking the stories down. Tega, we drift away now to AC Milan.
Yes, let's quickly cover some stories before we start taking some messages.
So, AC Milan, that's Oliver Giroud fired AC Milan back into Champions League contention with a decisive goal on Tuesday's 2-1 win over Paris Saint-Germain.
Pretty tough one for PSG. They're still in second position, just 1 point ahead of AC Milan, but it's pretty tricky. They started the game looking like they were going to take advantage of AC Milan's, recent struggles and get a result. And there's a lot. I've often said it, that PSG was not a well-formed team in the sense that they always had those superstars up front, but midfield and defensively, it left a little to be desired, or it left a lot to be desired. And with Luis Enrique's team, it's a little more balanced, but they're still missing one or two key personnel, especially in that midfield area. And so the struggle is clear to see when they're trying to build up from the back, or trying to get Mbappe fed with the ball. But they started out very scoring the first goal, and it looked like they're going to take advantage of AC Milan. But it was almost as if AC Milan woke up and said, "Hey, we are at the bottom of the group. We can't do that here."
Mm-hmm.
And they completely turned the game around. They started pressing. They started cutting through PSG's defense. They had more opportunities. If that game could have ended with more than just the 3 goals it ended with. Donnarumma had to I mean, had a very busy night, I would say, ultimately. He just kept managing to keep PSG in it until PSG was able to get one or two chances that they still fluffed. But ultimately, the overall play on the night, AC Milan had the upper hand, and AC Milan took all 3 points. They deserved it. I think Luis Enrique will be worried about the way his team is delivering, especially when they seem to have the players that they have running against defenses that have given up goals before, and they're still not able to score those goals. Those are the things that will worry him. That how can my players not be lethal enough to score those goals, especially Kylian Mbappe. Maybe he's going through something, maybe there's something in his head, but he's not in a great scoring form. Doesn't mean he's not scoring goals, but he's not in his most lethal scoring form. So something that they'll have to look at. But AC Milan were able to get the win and drag themselves back into contention. Like I said, they're just 1 point behind PSG in third position. In the other match in this group, Newcastle flattered us to deceive. That's how Newcastle beat PSG. I didn't think it was such a great win because, like I said, I've always questioned the structure of the PSG team. But it was a great win for Newcastle, coming into the Champions League and beating one of the big names in the Champions League. Since the day they beat PSG, it's like PSG swore for them that this beat you are beating me, everybody will be beating you back. Because they haven't found a win. I kid you not, it's like curse. Yesterday again,
need to break the jinx.
Yeah, they need to break the curse. It's like they have to go to the village and look inside a white bowl of water and conjure up something because it's not working out. Against the Dortmund side, where they also did not play too poorly. They created a few chances here and there. Dortmund were able to defeat them by 2-0. So that leaves Newcastle now bottom of the group. Newcastle, what is happening? So why did you beat PSG if you knew you were going to do this kind of thing? Now people cannot even bet on you.
You see?
Anyway, on that note, let's go to the next story.
And crossing away from Italy over to Spain, we know Sevilla boss Diego Alonso has challenged his players to avenge their Champions League loss to Arsenal, where the Spanish side meet the Gunners in a crucial Group B clash on Wednesday.
Yes, it's a crucial tie that Arsenal and Sevilla will be playing. It will determine how far each will progress. Now, a lot of people say that Sevilla should not worry. After all, they should go to Europa and win it.
See the shading, I see that.
But I'm sure they want to make a statement and see how far or how long and how well they can stay in the Champions League. And yes, they played brilliantly, but Arsenal were just able to peep their last fixture. So it's time for them to have revenge on their mind and try to get one against Arsenal, especially again with Arsenal struggling in other competitions the way they've been struggling. They were knocked out of Carabao Cup and they lost in the week over the weekend. Even in controversial circumstances, but it was still a loss. So they may be down at the moment and struggling, and Sevilla would want to take advantage of that, mental deficit and maybe see if they can peep Arsenal to one. But Arsenal will also be looking to bounce back, especially after the tumultuous week that they've had with the club, writing a letter about VAR to the league, with the coach coming under fire for statements and all of that. They too want to make a statement. They too want to turn things back to their footballing on the pitch. So it sets up for a pretty interesting match tonight.
Fine place to go. Still staying with Spain, and Barcelona slumped to a 1-0 defeat at Shakhtar Donetsk on Tuesday, spawning the chance to seal early qualification to the Champions League knockout stages.
Exactly, and that result also brought Porto, who won their own match, closer to them. So yes, Barcelona may have the opportunity to qualify later, but really they would have liked to qualify early. And they had that opportunity against Shakhtar Donetsk. They put out a good team. Unfortunately, the way they played yesterday, even if they played for 2 days, I didn't see them scoring. That's how much they did not. In fact, there was a better chance of Shakhtar getting a second goal, and they did score a beautiful goal, but it was ruled for offside, correctly too. So it was most likely that Shakhtar was going to get a second goal than Barcelona even score a goal in that game. And yes, I like the way Xavi said it. We failed because it was a failure of tactics. And so ultimately, he will go back with his team, look at what they had to do, and it's not you can complain about the results, but over a period of time, they haven't been playing brilliantly. Fortunately for them, they have been managing to get the results. Yesterday was one of the days that their performance matched their results. They didn't play well, they didn't get anything.
They didn't play well, they didn't get anything.
Yeah, so they have to. It's something they have to look at as a team. The hunger with the team, the drive with the team, and especially Lewandowski. He seems to be struggling every time he plays up front. It seems to be very slow in their build-up, which gives their opponents time to set up their defense, and it makes it even harder to break down. So it's something that Lewandowski, the player, the coach has to look at and work around. But yes, for a while now, they haven't been playing brilliantly. But yesterday was the day that they paid for their lack of brilliance.
Okay, a couple of more stories to go. So let's quickly touch down on FC Copenhagen coach Jacob Nistrup believes his team can pull off a shock win over Manchester United in the Champions League today.
This is what they say. This is that Nigerian proverb, when the roof of the house has fallen down, goats can now climb on top of the roof. Because now, even Copenhagen is bragging that, we can get Manchester United. They could not try this in the 90s. They're not won them well. But somehow, Manchester United been struggling globally. Like, it's there for the world to see. They are not defending very well. They're not scoring goals. Their midfield is not creating enough chances and creating enough opportunities. And so the team is in a horrible shape. And to make matters worse, they have many off-pitch issues that are coming to light. There's no discretion. The other day we heard that Marcus Rashford was celebrating his birthday late into the night after a loss. I'm not saying that you shouldn't celebrate your birthday, but given the extenuating circumstances that your club is in, and you are in a precarious position because you are a striker that is not scoring goals, celebrate the party quietly and go home early. Which one are you partying into the night?
Tega, he didn't score, he didn't kill anyone, like they say in the streets. So why are we saying should...
I don't understand. They paid you to score, you're not scoring. Can you imagine? If I paid you to build my house, I come and I don't see a house. Do you know what I will be doing? It's the same thing now. Because we are talking football. So you have to be wise in your dealings.
Yes.
And so they have a lot of off-pitch issues that are coming to life. There's also the domestic violence issues with some of their players, and the same players are not delivering on the pitch. So it's a lot going on. And Copenhagen is just like, I'm glad you have all the problems you have, which means that we can upset you tonight. And so that's what they'll be looking out to do, to try and pip Manchester United to a result. But I have a feeling that because of what happened to Rashford during the week, he just may make a statement.
We just have 2 more stories to go, but touchdown on Manchester City, RB Leipzig, and reaching the Champions League last 16.
Just to wrap up quickly, both teams have qualified with a brilliant performance last night. RB Leipzig, a little more tedious, but it got them the job and it got them over the line. Manchester City, of course, against Young Boys, I did expect them to score maybe 6 or 7. But they did what they needed to do. They got
the
3
boys
goals.
were young after all. So
what was the penalty? Well, it was also a young boy that scored the penalty against them. It was also another young boy that put the ball in the back of net. Young boy scored against the young boy. So, but all in all, Manchester City have qualified. RB Leipzig have qualified. And then just to touch on the Maradona story, he signed his image rights to a company to help them. His commercial image rights to a company. But he died before he completed the papers. So if not, his children wouldn't have had the commercial rights to his image rights. And imagine them thinking, but we are Maradona and that's our inheritance. but another law firm is taking it. So ultimately, they've won the case because the documentation wasn't
completed. Okay, but that's a fine place to get in a few messages before we wrap it up this
All
morning.
right, let's take these messages.
So I've got AY from Oniru saying, great win for Chelsea on Monday. They took advantage of the opportunities they got and sealed off a late victory. In the end, it's the result that matters. Moving on to City Boys of Pep, were firing on all cylinders in the UCL last night against young boys. They were indeed young, as Tega has affirmed also. Let's get away now to Emeka from Amuwo saying, Chelsea should take it easy on their celebration over 9-man Tottenham. I just realized that next 4 matches, Man City home, Newcastle away, Brighton home, and Manchester United away, even with the way Chelsea play. I see collecting goals in quantum numbers. And then Mohammed comes in.
Okay.
Mohammed comes in and says, Tega, what are you saying, Joe? How can you play a high line with 9 men against a Liverpool or City? It was because Chelsea was an immature and inexperienced side.
That's what it is now. That's what it is. You play the team in front of you. If they were playing a Liverpool or Manchester City,
Yes,
they probably wouldn't use that tactics. But Postecoglou felt he could risk that tactics because he was playing against this Chelsea side that was struggling. That's what I'm saying. It was a choice he had to make on the night. He made it. It doesn't mean that he's going to set up against Liverpool like that or Manchester City like that.
Shagun from Mina sent in this one saying, hi guys, I think it's over for Newcastle in that group despite having a great start. Qualification for Europa League is much more difficult now. And then I've got Tayo saying, poor Ethos by the law firm on Maradona despite the contractual arrangement. They don't fear God. They don't even have conscience. Anyway, Copenhagen winning against winning United a shock. Even we, the fans, won't be shocked, Jerry. Shagun from Ikorodu. That's the final message, Tega, and it's a wrap.
Thank you so much for all your messages, and please keep sending your messages in when we come back on Friday. Until then, have a great day and a prosperous day. Make deals, sign deals, and make money. Till we see you on Friday, it's bye from me.
And that's a wrap inside the locker room. My name is Omatseye Atsenuwa. Good morning.